The ritual that rehydrates the bones begins where almost no one touches, in the marrow that sustains deep exchange. To wash this marrow is to reignite internal circulation, like restoring functional moisture to the structure itself. When this axis dries out, the skeleton stiffens quietly, gestures become restrained, and the skin loses its glow because nourishment is no longer coming from within. A degenerative state does not arise as an event, it seeps in like a climate. Before any intervention, take an honest record of your before. Standing or seated, notice how the weight drops, where the base resists, and at what point the spine feels more opaque. Visit the breath as a thermometer. Observe whether the air finds a clear passage or gets caught along the way. Choose one place in the skeleton to photograph from the inside, perhaps the lower back, perhaps the knees, perhaps the hips. Hold on to this sensory image because it will become your measure. Begin at the point where the sensation of dryness tends to reveal itself most clearly. Bring your attention to the spine, not as a shape, but as an internal presence. Notice whether it feels continuous or fragmented, whether some regions seem more opaque and others more dense. Sense the inner texture of this area, as if you could feel whether there is circulation or only rigid support. Do not try to name anything correctly. Simply recognize how this part of the structure is presenting itself right now. From there, allow your attention to spread into the pelvis and the larger joints, hips, knees, ankles. Observe how these regions receive the weight of the body and how they respond to it. Is there fluidity, or does everything seem to function with caution? Notice whether there is a feeling of dryness, of limited inner elasticity, or whether one area feels more alive than the rest. Move through this path without haste, like someone walking through a structure that has been holding a great deal for a long time. Now choose one specific point of the skeleton to deepen into. It may be the lower back, the sacrum, a knee, or the hip area. Stay there for a few moments as if you were forming an internal image of that place. Observe density, temperature, and degree of responsiveness. Do not try to change anything. Simply register how this point exists right now within the whole of the body, with its own distinct qualities. Close this first mapping by keeping that image held inside. The body has already been read in its current state without interference. This record does not need to be perfect or complete. It needs to be honest. From here on, any change can only be perceived because this before was clearly recognized. Remain with this internal reference as you prepare for the next moment. What you have just mapped is not an isolated detail. It is a pattern of exchange that repeats across multiple layers of the body. This kind of structural dryness appears in different regions and for different reasons, but it always points to the same axis: loss of deep circulation and a thinning of internal nourishment. It was to work precisely with this type of state that I organized the ebook, Healing in Motion, 22 somatic cycles to release trauma, restore flow, and create again. This material brings together practices that act at this foundational level when the body enters an economy mode. The link is in the first pinned comment. After the video, go there and take a look. And now we move on to the intervention that begins to reorganize this axis here.
From this point on, something will be offered directly to the structure. Adjust the body in a simple way, without seeking an ideal posture. Sit or stand in a stable manner, allowing the weight to find natural support. Let the feet recognize the ground and allow the spine to organize itself without conscious effort. What matters here is not alignment, but creating conditions for internal exchange to happen without excessive interference from intention. Bring one hand to the central region of the skeleton that supports the body, such as the lower back or the sacrum. This is not a superficial touch. Use the palm or the base of the hand to apply firm, continuous pressure, enough to invite a response, but without aggression. Allow the weight of the hand to converse with the weight of the body, creating a dialogue between outside and inside, between support and structure. Hold this pressure for a few moments without moving the hand. Observe what happens when you do nothing beyond staying. In some bodies, there is an initial sense of resistance. In others, a more living density appears, as if something begins to circulate beneath the surface. Do not look for a specific sensation. Simply follow the response that emerges when time is respected. Now, without removing the hand, let the breath take part in this gesture. Do not force the air. Notice whether, with the pressure maintained, the air finds more room to descend through the torso. Perhaps the chest stops carrying everything on its own. Perhaps the breath becomes quieter. Use the flow of the air only as a gauge to sense whether the structure begins to allow more exchange. If you feel the body accepting it, gently increase the pressure, not by force, but by letting the hand settle, as if the hand sinks a few millimeters deeper, inviting the structure to respond at a deeper level. Hold this new level without hurry. This is where exchange begins to reorganize from the inside out. With time, subtle signs may appear. Inner warmth, a sense of filling, a softening that does not come from muscle. In some cases, a spontaneous sigh or the impulse to adjust the body. Any response is valid. What matters is not interrupting the process at the first sign of change. Stay present while the body does what it knows how to do when the right conditions are in place. If you wish, slide the hand a few centimeters to a nearby area along the same structural axis and repeat the gesture. The logic remains the same: continuous pressure, enough time, attention without expectation. This movement is not meant to cover the entire body. It is meant to deepen the quality of exchange at key points within the structure. When you sense that the process has reached a natural limit, slowly remove the hand. Do not replace it with another gesture. Simply allow the body to absorb what has occurred. Remain still for a few moments, noticing how the structure sustains itself now. The intervention ends here, and the body is already ready to be read again. Allow the body to remain as it is without adding any action. Let attention return gradually, following what holds on its own after the intervention. Begin at the same region where the first scan started, bringing presence back to the spine. Observe how this axis presents itself now without looking for a specific change. Simply notice whether the internal response is the same or whether something organizes differently when you visit this place.
Move through the same regions that were mapped before: pelvis, larger joints, points where weight concentrates. Observe how these areas receive gravity in this state. See whether the response feels more continuous, more quiet, or simply different. Do not compare mentally. Let the body make this reading on its own, at its own pace. Return to the specific point that was photographed at the beginning. Visit this place with the same neutral attention. Observe density, temperature, and degree of response. There may be more space, more presence, or simply a different kind of stillness. Do not force any conclusion. Allow this point to reveal how it is after what it has moved through. Close this second mapping by recognizing the contrast as a lived experience, not an idea. The body showed something when it was read twice along the same path. This perception was not suggested or imagined. It emerged from the structure itself. Hold on to this internal reading because it will be the real reference from now on. The contrast you just perceived functions as a reliable physical marker. When the body returns to a degenerative state, the structure loses responsiveness, the breath shortens its range, and the skeleton begins to sustain more through containment than through exchange. When structural hydration is available, the axis organizes with less effort and greater continuity. To seal this state, use a simple gesture. Rest the hand for a few seconds on the area you worked with and allow the weight of the arm to settle there, simply to reactivate the memory of deep circulation. This map is not only for this moment. Whenever you notice signs of skeletal dryness, return to it briefly. A quick scan along the axis, conscious pressure for a few moments, and a new internal reading already begin to reorganize exchange. This is not a long ritual or anything elaborate. It is a return protocol that gives the body back its reference of deep hydration when it slips into economy mode again. There is a reason certain figures carried a rare physical presence across decades, even without any discourse about youth. Leonardo da Vinci said that movement is the principle of all life. He was not speaking of exercise, but of internal circulation. A body can move and still be dry inside. What sustains vitality over time is the quality of exchange moving through the structure, not external appearance or isolated strength. This speaks directly to what you just felt. When marrow exchange becomes impoverished, the body enters a kind of silent immobility, even while remaining active. The ritual you practiced works exactly at this forgotten point, restoring internal movement to the matter that sustains everything. It is not about defying time. It is about taking the body out of a degenerative state before it becomes identity. Having access to this contrast changes how you relate to your own body. Instead of trying to fix skin, stiffness, or fatigue as separate problems, you begin to work at the core that sustains all of them. If this work resonated, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to keep exploring rituals that reorganize the body from its base. To anchor this experience, write in the comments the phrase, "I wash my bone marrow and restore hydration to my bones." Writing helps the body recognize the state that was accessed and return to it more easily. Stay for a few moments with the sensation that remains, and when it feels right, there is another video waiting on the screen. Vitality returns when the skeleton once again sustains life from within.